Okay, so
So we're here with Kathy Warman of Math Made Easy,
math
or
made understandable.
Math Made Understandable. I need math to be made easy.
Yes, math
So
is not easy, but it can be understandable.
yes, Kathy of Math Made Understandable. So Kathy, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about your program and what you offer homeschoolers.
Great, thank you. Yes, so I have a master's degree in applied math, and I have homeschooled my own 4 kids all the way through. My oldest is 23 now, and my youngest is 14. So I have a long time passion for math and a long time passion for the homeschool world. And
Excellent.
that's one of the challenges I see homeschool parents dealing with is when you get to the higher levels of math, how do you teach math in a way that the kids understand it and can move on into a STEM field to be prepared for calculus in college, that kind of thing. So that's what I'm trying to bring to the homeschool world in a way that's accessible. So there are 2 challenges that I find that particularly for homeschool parents. One is grading in a meaningful way, because you can look at the answer key and see if the answer is right or wrong, but it's really hard to help your student find and fix mistakes. So part of what I'm doing is offering that grading feedback. The other even more important part, though, is that when the students are working with the homework and struggling through the problems, they need someone there with them that they can say, hey, why is this turning negative in this problem when it should be positive? Why am I getting this and not that? But that means they need to have somebody sitting with them who knows math while they're doing the homework all the time. So hiring somebody to do that would be super expensive. So the other piece of what I'm doing then is offering online Zoom drop-in help sessions. So for 20 hours a week, I'm sitting on Zoom with my office hours open. The students can drop into my Zoom classroom and say, hey, I'm having problems with this problem, or can you explain the concept of polynomial division to me, or I don't understand how to add fractions, and I can work that example through with them so that they get immediate help while they're doing their math time each day. So they have that daily opportunity for help.
Okay, and so parents pay for that on a subscription basis, or you bill them hourly? How does that work?
So it's a per semester charge. So I have picked math books from 6th grade to pre-calculus that I'm happy with the content and happy with the presentation of. So I've set up Google Classroom assignments for those. So if parents are choosing to use the books that I've picked, then they have Google Classroom assignments that I'm grading through Google Classroom. And then the Zoom hours are available. And so there's one flat charge per semester for both of those services. So the summer's a little bit cheaper because it's shorter. I run a summer session, a fall session, and a spring session. The summer's a little bit cheaper because it's a shorter time set. So using the fall for an example, if you are accessing the Zoom help hours and all of the grading Google Classroom services, that's a $300 charge for the whole semester. So that covers absolutely everything for this semester. So if your student wants to camp out 20 hours a week on Zoom and ask me questions, you've already paid for all of that.
Okay.
So if you think about how many hours of one-to-one time you're getting, I'm hoping it's a good value for our homeschool families.
Yes, excellent. So so where so do you have anything that's brick and mortar? I'm just trying to get an idea of everything parents can look for.
Everything is entirely online. So the parents don't have to drive anywhere. All you need is some kind of device that can connect to Zoom, and the students can just sit there while they're doing their math homework logged into Zoom. I have some students that like to just log in, turn off their audio, and sit and work while they're logged into Zoom, so that if they get stuck, they can just turn on their audio and ask questions. I have some students that just log in when they need help on something specific. So it's all depends on the personality of the student and what they find helpful.
Awesome. So you haven't had any challenges other than your normal technology being overrun by other teachers with this
Exactly.
response,
exactly.
Right?
So yes.
You've already been doing it online. Everybody's already interacting with you online. That's great.
Yeah.
So tell me which, do you have a certain age group? Are there certain classes or levels of math? I think you mentioned it before, but can you go over who exactly you serve?
So the books I have picked out are 6th grade and on up. So 6th grade pre-algebra, which covers 7th and 8th grade together, algebra 1, geometry, and then a book that's an algebra 2 pre-calculus trig book combined. So those are main levels that I'm dealing with. I find that, and it's not an age thing so much then as a level of math. So if you have a younger child or an older child, I'm a classic homeschooler in that I really am not interested in how old your child is. I want to know what level of math they're doing.
Absolutely.
So I do have the option that if you are using a book other than what I'm using or a level other than what I'm using, you can purchase the Zoom drop-in office hours time separately from the textbook grading piece. So that would allow somebody to be using some other, so maybe their tutorial requires them to use Saxon, or they want to use Matthew C or something else, but they still want that help. Then you could use the drop-in hours separately, and there's a that can be broken off as a separate charge. I would say for what I find for the elementary students is that usually they don't yet have the study skills to come on and directly ask me for help and have that be super beneficial, because they don't yet know what they don't know. So if it kind of depends on the individual situation, where if the parent wants to get on with the child and teach them how to use those help session times and help the child learn with that, I think that would be great. I don't think it's an independent operation for somebody that would be in elementary school, just because of the self-awareness nature of having to recognize you don't understand something and ask for help in that.
Okay, and so is that something you would consult with parents about as you're signing them up if they wanted to get on and reach out to you and say, I got a fifth grader or a sixth grader? Okay, very good. So is there
the other piece of this is that you don't pay for the semester until 2 weeks after the semester starts. So you can try everything out, use as much of the services as you want for those first 2 weeks. If it's not working for your student, then don't pay the invoice, and we're all good to go. It just didn't work. So you have that trial period option there to see if it's going to work or not work. The other piece about it is that because it's a per semester charge, you can finish as much math as you want during that semester. So let's say you have a really ambitious student that wants to get through all of Algebra 1 and part of Algebra 2, during a whole section. I'm charging per semester no matter how much math they get done. So if they want to turn in 5 assignments a day and crank through all of that, then that's still one flat charge. If you have a student that needs to go slower, it's all self-paced. Even with the assignments in Google Classroom, you can still pace them out how you want to pace them. So
great to know.
Keeping the self-paced piece.
Yeah, that's unique to what I think most classroom type of settings are used to. So that's great. And so is there anything else you think you would want people to know about your program, your offering, and what we could expect from Math Made Understandable?
Well, my passion is figuring out what makes sense to a particular student. So one of the things I love about this format is that even though I'm reaching a lot of students, I'm still doing it in a one-on-one fashion. So what I love being able to do is to get to know a student's learning style and how they can have math make sense to them, and then explain problems in that way to them so that they feel successful at that. So so that's what I hope to bring to the homeschool world. And bring that passion to them.
It sounds very exciting. I'm so glad you're passionate about math, because a lot of us are not, and we need somebody to be able to do that for us. We're going to have your contact information at the bottom of your video, so people will be able to reach out to you. But for the auditory learners in the room, can you tell us where we can find you? How do we get in touch with you?
Yes. So my website is kathywarmantutoring.com. So Kathy with a K, Kathy. WARMAN tutoring.com.
Okay.
And then if you prefer Gmail, that's just as easy as kathywarmantutoring@gmail.com.
Okay.
So any of those emails come to the same place. So. And
are you visible on social media anywhere? Like, might we find you in a conversation in a Facebook group or something?
Yes, the Maryland homeschoolers, I'm active on there, posting. I have my own, I don't have a business profile, but I have my own personal page. It's actually Kathy Stretch Warman, if anybody wants to friend me or ask me math questions, I'm more than happy to do that. I do get emergency math texts from people on occasion with photos saying how to help my kid with this. So I'm very prepared for that.
Okay, very good. Kathy, this has been great. I'm so glad we got a chance to meet and that you were available. So thank you so much for taking this time with us. And I'm sure parents are going to be reaching out to you soon.
Please do. Thank you for doing this for us. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks again. Have a good time. A good day. have a good time as if you're going to do some math. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.